This is Dice Gambit, a turn-based strategy RPG where you use dice to determine how your turns unfold. After getting an email from the publisher Spelkollektivet, or Spelkollektivet, Spelkollektivet, with a key to the game, I decided to take a dive into the first act, and you're here to join me on this adventure whether you want to or not. Upon starting a new game, we receive a letter from a mysterious and very dead relative telling us that we must return from our adventuring journey and become an inquisitor. Our family lineage is to lead the battle against chromatics, cursed monsters that have been the scourge of the world for many, many years. So, I hopped into the character creator and I took a bit of time to get the perfect look. I went for a cute red and white themed ensemble and a fancy, definitely not bloodstained dice, and continue onwards to learn more of the story. We learn that the city of Neotalis has been under great stress from the chromatics and is ruled by 3 royal families, the Adicias, the Meadows, and the Novas. The Adicia family is ruled by 2 leaders, and neither of them get along, which sets a really great outlook for the future of the family. The Meadows are a family that apparently create superstars, which, without any further context, I'm going to assume that it's simply idols. They're ruled by some creepy-looking guy, but nothing further is mentioned. Finally, the Nova are basically the inventors of the age, so much so that the city has become reliant on them, which definitely isn't going to be a problem in the long run, right? So off I go, riding my little moped thing into the sunset, but I'm waylaid as I arrive and I get my first taste of some combat versus the chromatic. The combat's pretty straightforward. I roll some dice, and the symbols that they landed on determined what I could do, from attacking, defending, using my signature move, and one that lets me use any type, but at the cost of strengthening the chromatic. After a few turns, the chromatic were done for, and I came out relatively unscathed. After the battle was done, I was greeted by a map with a bunch of symbols. The exit sign was obvious, but first I headed to the gem symbols, and I was rewarded with sweet money. Ahead there was another fight, so what else to do but dive right back in. Heading into the battle, I used my signature Naruto run to decimate the stain behind me. My second roll was terrible, nothing but movement, and right now I had no abilities that could make any use of them. So I decided just to pass and hope that my next turn was better, which it was! With only 1 enemy to go, there was no way that I could lose. After a few more turns of definitely needing better rolls, the job was done. I finally escaped the chromatic ambush and headed to my estate, where I found a guy dressed in green cowering behind a desk, just how I like them. I drew my weapon just in case he tried some funny business, but as it just so happened, he was Sechi Greyfor, the Inquisitor family servant, and thus my servant. His introduction card told me that he will definitely take good care of my family, and who am I to disagree? It seemed like there was still chromatic outside, and Sechi asked if I'd closed the portal, which I definitely didn't do. I learned that they're gonna keep coming if I didn't close the portal, so after switching my class to Inquisitor 101, I headed out to see what I could do. First things first, let's get into a fight! This one was quick and painless. Grouped them up, used my signature move to finish them off. I did use 2 slots of the chromatic bar thingy, but that's a future me problem. I nabbed some cash and set off towards what looked like an odd-looking flag icon. There, I discovered one of the Adicia leaders, Sylvia. She wanted to see who could kill the most chromatic, and so, with my challenge set, off I went. As expected, I was victorious, with 4 killed by me and only 1 by Sylvia. Not as quickly as I'd like, but sometimes need to prioritize the task over the theatrics. She soon learned that I was the new Inquisitor and vowed to win the next time. With that, I got my first new relationship unlocked with her, and I got the Knife Juggler class and a new level. Next, I headed to a mysterious new icon, a bunch of question marks that turned out to be exactly what was on the box. It's a Gambit of Mystery, and it landed on an event. Something about bats? I dealt with them quickly, and moved my journey onwards. And by onwards, I mean backwards. I decided to double back and do the fight icon I had skipped before. Luckily, it was easy, just a couple of scrub chromatic that were swiftly dealt with. I decided to push ahead this time instead of wasting precious stamina. I nabbed the money from the gem tile and the health from the healing tile. Now it's time for the main battle. Bring it on. So the point of these fights is to destroy the main chromatic, because otherwise the portal is just going to keep spitting out enemies, and that's just going to overwhelm me. So off I go, hyper-focusing on the main guy. After a pretty difficult fight where my dice just didn't want to play nicely, I finally emerged victorious. Getting back to my home, Sechi praises me on my excellent work, and back to my humble abode I go. He clearly didn't expect me to actually succeed, but it's gonna take a lot more than that to break me down. He tells me that a good way to be stronger is to grow my family, so it sounds like I'm about to acquire a wifey. I was shown my potential suitors, and the moment that I saw Angelica, I completely fell in love. And look at that health pool. Delicious. delicious. With my new wife acquired, I journeyed out to my next set of tasks. It seems that Victorin Mados needed some help with chromatic that are bothering a neighborhood, and to her rescue that I went. Turns out that Victorin is an insufferable idol, but I would never turn down a person in need, mostly. Also, she calls me Master Inquisitor, and I kinda like that, so she's off the hook. Starting my journey, I headed to get some energy and then subsequently wasted it, but we're not gonna linger on that. Then, we headed to a mystery tile where I got some more, so really, I came out on top. I wasn't finished gambling though, and I decided to try my luck at the next mystery tile. This one gave me the option to change my signature move to an operator one. Spoiler alert, I hated it. After that terrible decision, it's fighting time. I, and my darling wife, made short work of the chromatic, and in only a few turns it was time to move on. I decided I wasn't finished with Sylvia, and decided to send my my wife to deal with her game of kills. Angelica was incredible, but despite tying with 4 kills each, Sylvia declared herself the winner. I decided to take my anger at losing out on some more chromatics, so off we went to another fighting tile. After a few good pick-me-ups, we emerged victorious, but not before I realized just how much I hated my new signature ability. I yoinked some more gold, and finally it was time to face the music. We had what can only be described as the absolute best boss fight we could have hoped for. The main chromatic funneled itself into a choke, and all I had to do was debuff to the best of my ability so that my Angelica could send them to the afterlife. Back at my estate, I was informed by Stetchy that none other than Aurelia Adicia was coming to visit me. I welcomed her to my humble abode, and she quickly gets on with what she wants. It turns out that one of the Adicia power plants has been overrun by a chromatic infestation, and it's up to me to deal with it before the reactor explodes and probably decimates everything in a 1,000,000-mile radius. And thus begins Act 1. So, I have about 6 weeks to act, and one expedition is 1 week. I definitely can't take on this mission, as weak as I am right now, so I search for something that's a little bit more within my power. I set my sights on a Nova family expedition to help them rid their offices of a chromatic infestation. Arriving to the apparently evacuated offices, I find some Ubisoft developers still working away because they have a deadline. Luckily, the chromatic appeared to be upstairs instead of in this office, so I just left them to work, I guess, and I began my own. I nabbed the energy first, and then I headed to a symbol that I hadn't seen before. It turns out to be a wee little package delivery robot that has something for Victorin in it. It's our job to help it safely to the deposit across the map, and I've already pack bonded with it, so help it I shall. It doesn't take long, and the robot has safely made its delivery of ice cream. It was ice cream. Next, I made my way to another race against Sylvia, taking the win with a solid lead of 7 killed versus her 1. A standard case of get good. Back on the map, I make my way to some more money, and then a Gambit spot that has me racing against Sylvia again as if she didn't lose enough to me earlier. I really ate my words though since we tied and she declared herself the winner. If you could see me, I'm rolling my eyes right now. But no time to waste. It's time to get the beat down on this infestation. The office was a really annoying map to navigate, but luckily I started in a nice open area and the main boss just came right to me. My new signature move, Proxy Fire, finally came in handy, and thus I ended the fight in style. The chromatic infestation is no more in the office, anyway. I gained some reputation with Vetius Nova, which gave me access to the incubation facility, whatever that was. Luckily, I didn't need to wait to find out. Back at home, Veticus and Stetchy were fixing up the incubation room and informed me that it was a place that I could just make fully grown offspring from my wife and I's DNA. Cool. Vetius continues that militant families find it hard to grow children the old-fashioned way because they're of no use on the battlefield, which I find incorrect because they make for great destruction. Off I go to make a baby, or to make an adult, I guess. Thus, Alicia is born and looks exactly how I would look if I was burst out of a cryopod-looking thing and forced to fight my DNA giver's whim. After a quick break to figure out some class stuff, I was back to the grind. Or I would if Stetchy hadn't informed me that I was 1,000,000 gold in debt, and every time that I went out he was taking my money to pay it back and I just hadn't noticed because I'm like the least attentive person. I either need to pay it all back or eliminate all of the chromatic from Neotalis, and right now I'm not sure what's more feasible. So off I went on my journey to level up some more, this time with my newly acquired daughter. On we go, rushing headfirst into the fight. Luckily, my daughter is cracked out of her skull, and we dealt with the chromatic pretty quickly for being pushed into a chokehold corner. Back on the map, the Gambit took hold again and I rolled an event. It gave me an alchemist signature, which I took because honestly, I would take anything by this point. Moving on, we started some more skirmishes with the chromatic, and we wiped the floor with them and continued onwards. I got some health back and decided to help our little robot delivery friend do their job again. It took a little bit of time and 1 or 2 kicks up the ass, but we succeeded, and Victorin Victorian's adoring fans got their ice cream. We grabbed some gold on the way to our next fight and managed to nab a pretty penny before getting into another fight with Sylvia. I sent my daughter in this time to see how she fared, and after a hilarious fight where the chromatic ended up mostly killing themselves, so no one got the points, Alicia came out on top with 3 kills versus Sylvia's 0. Get bent. Back on the map, it was treasure and Gambit time again. The first mystery roll was a welcome rest. The second was an Amzoon gifting terminal, where I bought a battle blade spinning toy for Sylvia for some reason. It made my reputation go up though, and I unlocked the combat training facility, where I can swap gold for XP. It's useful. Finally, it was time for the final boss. We started off needing to make our way through a chokehold, which proved to be a pain, but luckily, and once again, the main chromatic decided to come to us of their own accord, to which we greeted them with unimaginable violence. Victorious, we basked in our glory and unlocked a Scorcher class from Vetius, another class for me to try out with my main character. I spent some time fixing my family classes and healing, and then it's off on another adventure before the generator blows up. I noticed a new icon on the map, so I decided to check it out. Turns out that Sylvia and a baker were running a definitely not illegal chromatic fighting ring. I was disappointed because I'd hoped for a human fighting ring, but we can't always get what we want. After talking to her a little bit more, we somehow convinced her to can it and try human fighting ring. Back on the map, we decided to help her out since another one of her definitely not illegal businesses had some problems, and in true main character fashion, we had to go and fix it. So off we go, fighting more chromatic. We start out grabbing some map coverage from the eye tile, and then it got our gambling freak on. It gives me an operator signature move, which I check out and give the stimulate signature a shot. Gotta try before you buy, right? Moving on, I nab some money and then head to another gamba. The gamba turns out to be an event where Sylvia has just found a random ass syringe and she wants me to try it out. Luckily, I was a good kid in school, and I was taught never to accept drugs from strangers. Hey, whoa, why are you clicking accept for? Luckily, it was nothing, and Sylvia is long gone. Oh, nothing to be done. On I go, grabbing some money on the way to a robot delivery tile. Help the little guy make his journey, and onwards we go to earning some more reputation with Victorian. And now she sees us as a subscriber? Hey, you know what this reminds me of? That a whole 89% of people that watch my stuff aren't subscribed. So if you want to help me out and make sure you see when I upload next, then make sure that you subscribe and, you know, maybe drop a like for good measure. Onward! Back on the map, I grab some money and try another Gambit tile, which gives me an event to get a Vanguard signature. I give it to my daughter and she takes the Arrogant Entrance skill. I pick up some more healing on the way and then send my daughter to deal with Sylvia and her annoying kill competition. Alicia wipes the floor with Sylvia with a solid 3 to 5 win, and we continue. I nab some more money and energy and make my way to the Gambit tile, where Sylvia offers me a signature from the Berserker tree. I take the indiscriminate assault move and try one more Gamba, where Sylvia wants me to try another syringe. This one is empty too, leaving me disappointed. Finally, it's boss time. It's a short trek to get to the main chromatic we need to beat up, but it doesn't take long for us to take it down and snatch victory from its grubby little mitts. With 3 weeks to go, we are that much closer to our goal of being strong enough to stop the nuclear reactor from blowing up. I decided to mess around a little bit more with my main class. I'm still not quite happy with whatever build I've come up with, but we'll see what I can do. This time though, we decided to rest and get some of our stamina back, ready for the big day. I decided to make a new kid to come on the journey with me, and I created Andrea, my newest fighting machine, child. After using the rest of my gold to get some much needed levels, now time to head to the power plant and put a stop to this impending doom. On site, Aurelia greets me and gives me the rundown of the situation, and that she'll get in contact once I'm at the reactor. So in we hop. I nab some money to start with, because why not? Then some combat tiles reveal themselves, so I decide to head in, giving my wifey and my newest kid a chance to prove themselves. The map is different to what I've seen before, but they handle it with ease, even the moving exploding barrels. Turns out my wife is an OP tank that generates shield almost as fast as she loses it thanks to Rhetoric Blast. That's definitely going to synergize well with other stuff, but for now, they clear out the battle with plenty of effort to spare. Back on the map, I nab some energy, get an overview of the map, take some money, and get some well-deserved health. Next up is another fight, and I think my wife and newest kiddo can handle it. So in I sent them. My wife continued to be a beast of her own accord, and they clean up the chromatics in record time. We're getting closer to the ending fight, so I grab some energy and then try my luck on some Gambit tiles, which give me some energy, some health, and an event with a slot machine. I could just be safe and take the 44 gold, but I've never done a safe thing in my life. And so, we must gambit at every available opportunity. And it pays off! 30% chance and I walk away with 220 extra gold. Another fight opportunity presents itself, but It would be better to make sure that we go into the main fight as healthy as we can be. So off we go to the boss battle. Aurelia appears since the time is right and asks for my wife for some reason. Probably because I put her in the first slot instead of myself, which is weird, but I can overlook it. The reactor is overloading, and we need to grab the 3 cores scattered around the map and put them in. The chromatic daubers around constantly spawned new chromatic minions in, and that made this fight absolutely chaotic. I did the not smart thing and split the party off, with my wife and daughter going together, and my main character veering off alone. For the most part, this wasn't too bad of a setup. My main was making good progress towards the core, but as the fight progressed and the chromatic bar filled up, we were taking more and more hits that we couldn't withstand, and the dauber kept spawning more and more minions. I finally acquired the first of the cores on my main character, and prepared to make the journey to the reactor. The dauber kept the heat on though, and my daughter and wife were struggling. My wife, through a lucky hit from one of the smaller ads, acquired the second core and started to make her way to the reactor too. The chromatic bar, by this point, had reached level 2, and the chromatic were 20% stronger. Time was running out, and even more was brewing that I just wasn't paying attention to. Something bad. I realized I couldn't stay and fight every single mob I came up against. I needed to get going. Then, the unthinkable happened. Through my own inability to keep a proper eye on her debuffs and to pay enough attention to the things going on outside myself and my wife, I realized that my daughter had 74 health and debuffs that would deal 87 damage to her. I was devastated, and I tried to find any way to stop the inevitable, but after exhausting all of my rerolls and realizing that I couldn't risk adding more to the chromatic meter, I made peace. And she went out making the path easier for her parents, and perishing in the heart of battle. I will get revenge, and I resolve to stop this reactor if it's the last thing I do. 1 core's in the reactor, and I get ready to send Angelica to retrieve the other, this time together with me once I've put my own core in. Angelica clears the path for me, and we race to the other core. Angelica dashes forward, ready to face the dauber head on and take the last core by force, leaving me to deal with the baby chromatic left behind. She trusts me, I trust her. Finally, the last core is acquired, and we just need to get it back to where it belongs. Angelica rushes back, and we finally put a stop to this chaos of a fight, right? Aurelia gets in touch and tells us that there's a screen lighting up and it's initializing a destruction sequence. Well, looks like my daughter wasn't the only one kicking the bucket today. Well, chat, it's been a good run. I leave everything that I own to my dog, except that 1 kilo bag of mini eggs, which I donate to the... Huh? I lived! But the chromatic were destroyed. That sounds like something we're gonna have to figure out in the future. I head back to my home, shaken, but not stirred, to find the place nice and peaceful. Too peaceful. What the hell is Stetchy? I don't have much time to think though, because Aurelia barges her way in to tell me what a great job I did earlier. She lets me know that I've served the people of Neotalis well, and that they'll let me attend the Adicia Soldiers Academy, whatever that is. But we did it! We stopped the reactor from destroying the entire city, and despite Stetchy's absence, the show must go on. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe so you stay in the loop. See you next time!